Welcome to Lifestyles of the Strange and Exotic, a video that will most likely be all over the place. And as you can tell by the title, it's going to deal with the fun times. Now, I fiddled with the idea of doing this off and on for God knows how long, but I figured, well, especially with me, it sort of got instigated. The idea to actually do it came from a conversation I had. And it was like, this person, it's like, well, just because you know somebody with anxiety, you don't know what it's like to have anxiety. You are seeing this itty-bitty, tiny, minuscule, little microscopic piece of what's actually going on. You don't realize the whole shit fest that's going on inside on a 24-hour basis. Yeah, it ebbs and flows at some points, but there is not a point in your day that you are not affected by the monster. And it is a sleeping monster. Sometimes it'll kind of yawn or poke its eye open. Mostly it's asleep. Sometimes it'll be like, roar. So, yes, that is how I picture the thing. So, as I said, I'm sure this is going to go all over the place. I kind of like vomited thought onto paper every time I kind of, could think about this. Now, this is what happened to me personally. Now, I do not have a fancy certificate saying I have anxiety. I didn't even realize there was a term for what the hell was happening to me until fairly recently. And it was on Facebook anyways, and I guess somebody had shared from a site called The Mighty. And I wish I could find this particular vid because it nailed every single damn thing that happened to me. And how, a lot of times when you see people, or not see people, but have people talk about their anxiety, they're usually talking about how, it's like fear-based, where it's like maybe they'll get out of breath or they get headaches or something like that. No, I get it through my digestive system. So, it's like, where do you even begin with this? So, having all that kind of evidence, and every time I see one of these videos, and they're like little post-it notes of just sort of, what not to say to somebody with anxiety, and I'll get to that point originally, different things that, different people have to go through, and they're very simply put, and it's like, yes, So, I can trace how I manifest this to a particular incident in my ye olde childhood. Now, I haven't been normal since the beginning. Now, I don't remember, I think I was like 2 years old. So you can kind of tell how this environment kind of happened. And why I have no children. I guess I was having cereal. This is not the incident that triggers, but I'll get to that. Mother was feeding me cereal, wouldn't eat the cereal, she got pissed off, picked me up, put me in the bathtub, dumped the cereal over my head. This is the world that I grew up in. When you have a parent that's like, why did I do this? You're gonna be kind of lippy. So, okay, with that in mind, this incident of how the certain triggers that I have, we, as a family, Grandma, Grandpa, Marcy must have been there, but I don't remember, but the group of us went to a restaurant in the city. No memory of the restaurant or whatever, but I remember coming out and I got sick. I barfed in the parking lot. Now, I, for one, would be like, ew, but be like, are you okay? You probably shouldn't have eaten so fast, but I don't remember what the hell I did or not. Did you eat too fast? Are you allergic to something? Are you okay? Take your time, whatever. Not this person. No. She goes, you shouldn't have eaten so fast. What the hell? Like, gee, thanks. So, any frickin' time I've got to be in a car, I end up with a flare. And it's gotten better now that I've figured out ways to kind of sidestep certain things. Anytime I have to be in a car with her, I'm guaranteed frickin' flares. So, and it's all digestive. I will get nauseous, and I will get lovely diarrhea. And it's a given. It's not like, oh, maybe I'll get it. I have gotten anxiety over getting anxiety. Whoa. Now, so that's how it hits me. But sometimes too, when it like wants to flare, that sort of pre-flare, you feel like you're breathing hot air, and you'll get like really stiff in your midsection, like kind of in your stomach. You'll just feel really heavy, and it's like very hot and dense. And that's when you kind of know, it wants to flare, and you're like, that's why a lot of people, I think, get really exhausted, and especially if I have a really large flare, it just sucks the life right out of you, where you're so busy punching it back down and dealing with it. It takes so much out of you. And of course, nobody within eyesight in your world knows what is going on, that this war, this constant war is going on inside of you. They don't know what's going on. It's not like, here, give me a sec. Boom, boom, boom. They don't know what's going on up here, and it's not just up here. It's physically head to toe. And you can't, I mean, there are those times that you pretty much know for sure it's gonna hit. And I'm trying to keep my thoughts somewhat in order. Now, if there is a large car trip to be had, now this is the thing that really pisses me off. If there's one thing that anxiety makes me, it's frustrated, because you're aware of like the limitations it puts on you, where, and not as bad as I was, I can, though I still have to rationalize the fact, heaven forbid I just take my car and just go someplace. I can't do that. I still kind of have to like have a legitimate reason to go, like an excuse to like legitimatize the reason of going, and nobody freaking gets that. The fact that, if I'm going on a trip, and I like to travel, I like going places, I want to absorb, but it's the process of going from point A to point B, where you're trapped, and of course being digestive, you always want that access to a bathroom. It's that sort of safety net, So if we're going to Loudon, I will double bag, i.e. put 2 plastic bags together just in case. And now, where are you? I think I'll get that to later. So, and I will make sure, if it's a long car trip, not to eat, or eat very, very little the day before, and maybe the day before that. And most likely, if I'm having a flare, won't eat that day either. So there's so many times during the race that I couldn't have like Mike's delicious, wonderful, I think, is it Garvin's? Garvin's, it's a meat place, to partake in some of the food. And his mother makes some awesome dip, mind you. So it's like, I want to enjoy, I want to partake, but I physically can't do so. And it's so annoying, because it's like always behind you, and it's like, that's why I hate kind of being up in the middle of the stands, because there's such a freaking long way down to get. But the fact that, yes, I can get to the bathroom, punch it down. But when we were in the front, it was awesome, because I'm like right there, there's that aspect to it. But then, like those things, I'm almost guaranteed a flare, which is really freaking annoying, because it does take a lot out of you. So it takes away from what you're trying to enjoy. But then too, like I said, I've gotten anxiety over anxiety. Sometimes you never know why the hell it la 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 la, poof, it's happened. It's like, what the fuck? Oh, and for me, heaven frickin' forbid if you veer from the straight and narrow. I've had days where, okay, yes, you get up pretty much the moment you wake up, there's your set plan for the day. I'm going to go dunk, 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 dunk. If something goes dunk, 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 ding, it's like, what the fuck do I do? Flare, flare, flare. And it's like, really? If I don't go take this road, I can take this road. I end up in the same damn place. It's that you can't adjust. You can't swing with the time. So it's like any sidetrack, you're like, panic, panic, panic. And in your head, you're like, what the fuck already? This is not a big deal. I can take B over A. It's the same result. And it's like you're sitting there watching yourself do this, and it's like, that's part of the battle, where you're like, what the hell? And that's one of the things, well, of course, same difference, new situations. Even like taking a new trip or doing something new. There's that, so I think it's sort of like a lack of control where you have to dot all the T's, dot all the I's and cross all the T's. You have to account for everything because, you don't know where that mysterious something might happen that's going to set you off. So which is why our brains kind of go because we're looking for all those things that might trigger you, so you have a base of reference, or you can prepare, and it's like okay, got that. And again, referring back to that mighty thing, is like the thing that you don't say to people like us. I can quote fucking verbatim. Oh, it can't be that bad, or she didn't mean that, or those are my two favorite ones. Or oh, it's all in your head. I'm sure either you're making it up or over exuding whatever. It's like you're overacting, and it's like, the fuck is wrong with you people? Really? No, we do not volunteer to endure this. We have no option to go, if we turned it off, this would not be a problem. This is something we cannot get rid of. When I have a flare, it's like being tarred. Like you're covered in tar and you're trying to like pull it off of you, and it takes so much effort to peel everything off. And if I have to deal with certain guaranteed triggers, it can take me up to a week to fully recover or to get back to my normal. And it just sucks so much out of you because, and it's like nobody volunteers to have depression. Nobody volunteers to have anxiety. We are not enjoying ourselves. And kind of going, like I said, this is going to be all over the place. And it's like, I like to travel, but you're tethered to such a short leash, which is why when I had jury duty there and they wanted to send me to Springfield, well, I couldn't get there myself because it's enough that I can go to Walmart and back on my own. But it's like, new place, you're likely to be shot going there. It's like, can't I go the next town over? And I told them, well, I have anxiety, and it's like, there is no way I'm going to pull this off. If I can go to this place where I've been, I know what to expect, I can do this, and I don't have to rely on anybody. Fortunately, I didn't have to go, but they did, manage to switch me so I could do it if I had to, but then still, major flare, and it's like around my birthday, too, and it's like, but at least I do have now part of a base of reference. So if I do end up having to do it again, hopefully I can get back to the other place I tried to get to, so. And the thing too, that would play into, being on a jury where, like, part of me would be like, this would be awesome. Again, new experience. I'm an analytical person, so I would be dealing with the technical aspect of it. But being stuck with 11 other people on a jury, this is why we have our little worlds. We do not interact with people because there's a variable that somebody's going to trigger us off. And it's like, it's just too much to handle. So I'm like, why don't they let you volunteer for jury duty? Huh? It's like, if you volunteer, then you can be randomly picked from the volunteers. Don't frickin' draft us. Why don't you account for this stuff, government? Huh? Do people do that in other countries? Are we drafted? I don't know. But anywho, let's see. Which again, looking at my note where, since I can't, like, I've never driven on the highway, again, if there's no other person on the highway, maybe I could do that. So it's like, I can't just randomly go and say, well, I have managed to get to Hadley. And it's pretty much just straight up, so it's not too bad. But it's like, I can't, since there's no, like, highway, it's all, like, side roads, so I can do that. But if you're going to, like, the big mall or something, it was like, I can't do that. And that's the challenge for me. Like, during my birthdays and stuff like that, I try to, like, okay, here's my safe place. Here's the boundary. Let's see if I can move the boundary just a little bit more. So, you try to at least widen your safe zone, so you're not quite so imprisoned in your world. Which is why it's like, hey, do you want to go here today? Like, hint, hint, you know. And that leads me into my next point, where we don't like people. People, like I said, are just... There's a freaking word here that I lost. They're variables. You're unpredictable, so you're not quite sure, you know, what you're going to get. Are you going to end up flaring? Are you, you know, and especially around people you don't like, and it's like, retreat, retreat. So we tend to be loners. I am at my best when there is nobody around. You can kind of go, but then you're never quite alone because the voices in your head are always going, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, we do tend to kind of be like avoiding groups of people. But if you are chosen to be a part of the sphere, if somebody with anxiety allows you to be their friend, consider yourself highly honored. You were chosen, okay? We could say, fuck you, I don't need you. If you are welcomed into the sphere, appreciate that fact, okay? And it's something you might, if you lose that fact, if you do something stupid, you might not get back in. So keep that in mind, people. Appreciate the loner, anxiety-filled people that have chosen you into their world, because we're very, very selective. Let's see. In bouncing again back to the sort of short leash there, for me, it's like you don't... Between being like out of sync and you're like aware that you're not quite on the same, when you're in a social interaction, there's sort of tempos. I'm never on the same tempo. Like with today, it's like I got, you know, I got a haul and I got like a treat, so I'm like, then, you know, interacted awkwardly like I always do. So in the back, it's like, well, did I come off creepy? Did I come off did I not appreciate it? You know, did I come off weird? Which is like, and this goes throughout the rest of the damn day, mind you. So you're dealing with that stuff. So while you're dealing with this, you're not fully embracing, fully enjoying. You just don't fully live. Zombies. So this is what people with anxiety are like. We are nervous zombies. We're not quite alive yet. We're not quite dead. So, and it's like, that's the part that's so frickin' frustrating to me, because I want more. I am aware of what's going on. You know, I want to be able to say, hey, screw this. You know, I want to... You know, and it's taken me a long time to just get to those certain places to think, wait a minute, why am I dealing with stuff to accommodate other people? Nobody's accommodated me ever. So I'm like, no, I'm going to give myself an undercut. And again, if you've seen my video, you know I had to have that legitimate reason why. And, you know, I'm going to have the piercings. You know, I want the pieces of me to be me, you know? I don't have to be somebody else, which is like, you know, it's all this... cesspool of crap, you know, and it's like, you don't, especially when you're having to deal with, you know, so-and-so, you know, can't get their head out of their ass, you know, and it's just, again, frustrating. So in that way, you are like two different people. You have like the you that's like interacting with the world, and then you have the internal you that's going like, what the fuck, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And it's like, you know, and you want to just, you know, where the you know, dart gun, poof, you know, so you can just like deal with things. Because I'm comfortable now babbling on incoherently, but there's still points where I'm like, partially I have to like rehearse what I might say. Like, I used to have to do that. Heaven forbid if I just went, hey, hi, how are you? Talk to a person. I can actually do that now. I had to rehearse what I was going to say before I said it. And then there was no guarantee what was up here was going to come out here. So, to us, you're kind of like, I must seem like a total grade A lunatic. So when I'm like editing my videos, I'm like, don't seem as insane as I think I am. At least I amuse myself, if anything. So, but you're not quite sure. It's like, did I scare them? Are they gonna like, oh my God, she's kind of weird? But then after a while, I got to the point where I'm like, no, I'm gonna earn my weird. And again, too, part of the sort of like symptom to anxiety is vomiting thought, because we're trying to like chase after the thought, which I've mentioned before, and you know, all that, it's nervous energy. So I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Between the nervous energy and the fact that I grew up with like, if I interacted with somebody, you'd either get the sort of glaze, either they were too stupid to understand what you were saying, or they were just not remotely interested. So they would kind of like tune out, and it's like, oh, really? So you pretty much had to speed talk to get the thought out, hoping something would stick. So that kind of feeds into things. So that's one reason why I'm like that. And then if I slow down and try to focus, I can either talk and get coherent thought out, or slow down and be like, what? You squirrel? What? So you get what you get. Oh, and I actually did that. Oh, also, I can't look people in the eye. It's not that I'm trying to hide anything. I just feel like the weird is just going to pop open again, you know? It's like, I can't... So I'll talk to you, and it's like, I can get to your nose maybe, but it's like, I can't eyeball you. Even people I know, it's like, you just can't. You can't do it. And it just sort of makes you feel awkward and stupid, and it's like, I don't quite know why. If it's a type of intimidation, did you feel intimidated because you're pretty much this broken little tiny child doll inside? So if you look like somebody straight in the eye, they're going to be like, oh my God, they're going to see the whole chaos inside of you. I don't know, but I can't do that. So at least with the camera, I've got an eyeball, so this is the closest eye contact I can do. Good luck doing that, unless I'm really, really close to you and you're in my inner circle. I don't have too much of a problem, but it's like, you have to be a chosen one to be able to, for me to do that. Otherwise, it's like, and it's like, I'm not hiding anything. I just can't sort of physically finish the, you know, hi, how are you? You know, it's just, I can't do it. And again, that kind of makes, you know, you always feel awkward. That's the whole out of sync, out of tempo. It's just, you're awkward. You're like dancing with 15 left feet. Oh, and another type of trigger here. I think maybe I'll chop this off at 30 minutes and then have a part 2. We'll see. And anxiety feeds into paranoia, which feeds into anxiety. So if there is a sound, and this was kind of recent in one of those little things. Oh, no, it was Leah Mouse who was talking about when she flared, how she had hyper hearing. And it never occurred to me until I heard a noise and I realized my brain was going down the list of what it could be, where I will get up at God knows what time and like, okay, make sure the doors are locked 15 times over. You know, okay, there's the one cat, there's the other cat. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, and if, you know, he comes home, it's like, not just hyper hearing, it's like all of you goes into like hyper warp speed. And good luck trying to get back to sleep after that. So it's like, I mean, you're like a groundhog. You're like noise. And it's like, in some ways it's good. In some ways it's like, not only you get your paranoia, but you get everybody else's paranoia too. And that could be like any time of the day. Not just when you wake up, but it's more so, you know, being woke up. But this could happen, you know, like now is at night. I'm doing my thing. I'm in my element. But here, clink. It's like, so, fun. Having to plan. That's true too. Again, with like trips and stuff. Or even just sort of a day-to-day thing. You know, even I think just on an average day, I have to plan everything out. Like, okay, tomorrow I'm not going anywhere, so I can be home. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to read some more, you know, well, screw you then. You know, get some more reading done. You know, Kefren wants to go outside. Wednesday I've got planned out. And it's like beat. So it's like, again, you have to build your structure and your safe house on a day-to-day basis. Can't go with the flow, can't do adjust, okay. And there are days for me where you, it's not necessarily you get overwhelmed precisely, you just feel put upon and you're just bothered. Not that people really are asking too much of you, but that's a whole nother story in it itself. But you just feel, you're just so bothered by the fact that I've got to deal with this person, I've got to do this, and it's like, because there's so much, you're dealing with so much out of sight, they don't realize, oh, you show up and da-da-da-da, and then leave, but it's like you're dealing with so many things internally, where it's like, you know, I have my limits, I need a day to just say, fuck all of you, and just go, and it's a temporary respite, because it's not gonna, you know, you can't take a vacation from this stuff, you know. So to me, it's just like, I just don't want to deal with this. I want one day to just goof off and, you know, play Witcher and do something stupid, you know, just leave me the hell alone. And it's like, those are the days when everybody freaking wants you. This has happened more than one occasion. It's like, you know, I need to take a step back. Why the hell are you bothering me? And it's like they have this, like, you know, radar where you want to just sort of recover and reboot, and they're like vultures. They're like picking your eyeballs out, and it's like, again, feeding into the frustration. Like today, I had the goodie bag and got a little extra treat. Total surprise, very nice. Again, thank you. So I'm like, okay, instead of focusing, yay, goodie, positive thing, you can't focus on that, because you've always got to balance it with a negative, even though it's not necessarily balanced, because it's like, oh, good thing, bad thing. And this bad thing could never happen. You know, this is something that's like, okay, again, did I look awkward? Da, 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 da. Oh, there's a police car that went by. What the hell? And it's like you've got to, heaven forbid if you enjoy something, because that negative is always there to like overwhelm it. Even if there's no legitimate base to do so, it's like, you can't get rid of it. You know, that's why I call my car the Rage Rover, because it's like, I'm more than 95% pissed off most of the time. For no particular reason. It's like, it just feeds, and it like feeds into itself. And you can't quite pull yourself from it. Let's see. Oh, well, let's see. Oh, and I gave myself an example. When I did my undercut, I love it. Oh, I actually trimmed. It was funny how quickly my hair grows in a week. Oh, it's so soft and velvety. So I'm like, but it started to feel long. So I'm like, oh, gotta trim it up again. And it's like, I just love it. I like petting myself. I like the feeling. But I was combing my hair, and I'm like, okay, well, my hair looks, what's left of my hair looks more stringy, and, you know, it doesn't look as good as it did before. Not like it looked wonderful before. And it's like, really? And then it's like, okay, I fiddled with it, and I'm like, oh, fix the problem. But there was the way my brain worked. Love the undercut, do not regret it, totally loved it. But and it's like, well, okay, well, this, that, and it's like, really? So that's the way my brain works on a 24/7 basis. So something, you know, or I get a compliment, you don't know how the hell to react, because your brain is telling you, oh, he probably doesn't, you know, they didn't mean it, or you know, this, that, and the other thing, and it's like, also, try to get into, like, end this on a more positive note. Now, I, for one, am not medicated for this. So, though I have screamed to the frickin' mountaintops most of my life, screaming, you know, I've always known something wasn't quite right. Going, something not quite right, help me. You know, is there something somebody can do, or at least explain? Again, you get this sort of stupid glossed over look. And it's like, nobody would do bullshit. But I come from a day and age where I don't even know there was a term for this. Usually if you're like mentally ill, it was like you had to be like schizophrenic, or, you know, obviously crazy. Those of us who are under the radar, who can like pretend to be normal, no. Nowadays, especially since the internet, there are people, at least for me, that is sort of a comfort, where there are people who, if you're flaky, might actually understand why. So it's like, well, the medications, what are the side effects? Do it would be nice to kind of just sort of numb, or just sort of put the beast to sleep, but you don't want to be comatose while doing it. You know, what's the price you pay? And over the course of my existence, because of, you know, having anxiety, you are hyper emotional. That's kind of part of what it is. So over the course of your world, you push down everything, you know, all the negative and all that stuff. But you can't pick and choose. It's one whole thing. So I still can't quite differentiate emotion. So it's like, I know what frustrates me. I kind of know, well, even still, it's like a varying degree of the same emotion. If I don't feel anything, I'm in a good place. But if I feel like stuff, that's not good. So it's like, I physically can't feel proper emotion. There's no like different channels. You're always getting at NBC, you know. It's hard to explain. So having to push all that down, you push the good down with the bad. But I know what makes me, you know, happy. You know, I can interact and I can enjoy myself, but there's no like, there's no battery in the computer, though I can get plugged in. I can't explain it, which is why you have to know what it's like yourself. Because, I have external ways to cope too. This is one of them. And this is kind of smelling really, really good. I think I have to update the... Put new lavender in here. Now I'm kind of training my brain, and it has sort of worked. And these are, well, I kind of made up a bunch of them and called them blessing bags, but this thing is a lifesaver. I have a piece of amethyst, which is, you know, for calming, and I have it with lavender, and it smells good. So if I'm knowing I'm going to have a flare, this thing comes with me. So again, I usually have it around my neck, or I found out I can do this, where I can wrap it around my wrist, and then just sort of tuck it under, and then go. So yeah, it might look weird. Why is she sniffing your wrist? But it's like, okay, I need a moment. Yeah, it's really good. So that's what this is. And it's just the lavender and my lavender oil. And it just smells really, really nice. So this always comes with me, and it's always behind me, unless I'm wearing it to go someplace. And right here on YouTube, there's a few different channels, but the one that has helped me the most is called The Honest Guys. If I could subscribe to them 15,000 times over, I would. These guys are lifesavers. I have downloaded quite a few of their videos. I like in their meditation videos, but there's different ones. But I like the ones where you're kind of, it's kind of like where you have your TV show, then you can watch a movie. It's kind of like the movie. There's the Unicorn Glade. They have the Middle Earth ones where they kind of bring you into like a story. There's Running with Wolves, where the narrator has the perfect voice for me. There's one on YouTube that has like this reverb, and it's like, why with the reverb? But this guy, it's just hits the right notes, and it's not distracting, and it doesn't feel like he's talking down to you, and he'll narrate the particular little adventure you're going on. There's a trilogy called Party in the Shire. See, like the Walking with Elves one, he takes you to the meditation where, not the Walking with Elves, Running with Wolves, where the wolves show up at your door and you feel compelled to join them, and you just set off running. And then you'll stop and you take a drink, and it's exhilarating, and it's fun and joyful, and and there's video that goes with it, so you have a visual thing. So if you don't want to listen to what he's saying, you could at least watch the screen, so your mind's occupied there. You can listen to the story, even if you don't picture it along with you. I'm visual, so I can picture everything. You can just listen to him and relax like you would an audiobook, or you can do what I do, listen to him and actually play the scene out in your head. And some people can kind of like meditate, trance type stuff better than I can. So you can go that far too. And they have sleep talk downs, which is similar, but it'll like kind of fade out, and then you'll have like a fireplace, or there's like the cottage in the snow, or you have like again the fireplace or the ocean. I have it on my phone, I have it on multiple tablets, I have it downloaded on computers, so I have a backup of a backup of a backup of these things, because this helps on car rides especially, and they can last for a couple, like, well, couple hours, from like 5 minutes to an hour or two, depending on which one you listen to. Lifesavers. Oh, I can't promote the Honest Guys enough, because it's helps me so much. And overnight I'll listen to them, even if it's the same thing over and over again. It's like I had to like adjust some of the videos, because he likes listening to talk radio in the car, so I had to like amp it up so I could hear it. It's like, so that's at least one thing that's really helped. That's helped. And so far, that's kind of the only thing that I've managed to be able to kind of do. I used to listen to music. Music helps too. Whatever the hell genre you like, put your earphones in, whatever, your Bluetooth, whatever. That helps, because you need something to distract your brain from this chaos. So even, if you're just listening to your favorite music, though, if you're dealing with this stuff, you probably figure this stuff out already. You just need to distract it and give yourself a few minutes to just go. So those are a few things that have helped me out. Other people have had different other kind of, I guess you can call them coping mechanisms. So not sure what more I can add. I'm already at 41 minutes. So at least this is out there. Whether you listen to it all the way through, at least there's one person that does get it. We might not manifest the same, but we know we're fighting the same monster. They just might have different colored fur. So I think I shall end on that note. So thank you for watching, especially if you've made it all the way through. Do remember to comment, rate, share, and subscribe. There's always room for one more at the Strange and Exotic. And if you've got tips or anything that you want to share with anybody, like I share across multiple platforms, that might help another, share them all down below. I mean, any new idea is a great idea, you know what I mean? So, thank you again. You're not the only one, and I shall see you next time. Bye.